Hey guys and girls, I hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday afternoon. I know I am. We just got back from church, and one of the reasons I'm having a great Sunday afternoon is we're kind of having off and on rain. And we didn't wanted to get out of the car because it was raining in town, so we didn't go inside and eat any place. We drove through Brahms and got some chicken tenders and a butter pecan malt. And Chris had a cherry limeade, and we just pulled down to the park. Got the great national park there in Sulphur, Oklahoma, and it's a great park. And there's hardly anybody there today with it raining and cold and kind of windy. It's not really cold today. It's in the 50s, but it's kind of windy out there. The north wind's blowing pretty good, and it's a little chilly, especially if you're dressed like I am, dressed for church as opposed for fishing. And I like to be dressed like this for fishing, but I like for it to be about 70 or 75 or 80 degrees when I do that. But anyway, we had a little lunch in the car. We sat in the car and had lunch. It was the only car parked there at the park. Of course, they got several places you can go in that park. That's a big national park, and it's a great one. There's a lot of traffic in it. A lot of people go there. Summertime, tremendous swimming areas in there. I guarantee the kids have a ball. But anyway, I thought I'd visit with you a little bit on a Sunday afternoon chat and let you know what's going on. We had a great week this past week. I actually left the ranch on Wednesday and worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Got back in here last night. We on the Turner Turnpike, we got a few miles back behind a really bad wreck, and it took a couple hours to get through there. The wreck looked pretty bad. Pray for those people that were involved in that wreck. I don't really know what happened. I haven't watched the news or anything, so I don't know if there was anything really bad from a fatality standpoint in that accident. But it was a bad one, and that's what I told Chris. Here we are sitting here. It's raining on us. We're sitting here in a line of 300 or 400 cars and trucks, but we're not. What's causing this? What's causing this is those people are really having a bad day. And so sitting there, we did. So we didn't get home till about 1:30, and I finally got in bed about 3:30. And so when that alarm went off 7:30 this morning to go to church, it was hard for old Jimmy to get up, but we did, and we had a fantastic church today, a packed house, Midway Hills Baptist Church. Chopper did his usual good preaching job. You can't help but amen that man a lot when he's preaching. He's got a little Pentecostal blood in him, but he's a Baptist. But he would love to preach to Pentecostals. I know that. He likes the amen quarters. He likes it. If somebody got up and jumped around and started dancing, he would like that a lot. But we had a great church there. But this past weekend, I went a couple of places. I spent Thursday afternoon and Friday morning until noon at Griggly Jig's show in Missouri, and it was a great show. I think today's the last day of that show. I think it went on 1 through 4, and it's a crappie fishing show. That's right. That entire warehouse or showroom, I guess you'd call it. It's not a warehouse, although they do have a big warehouse. That entire showroom is full of nothing but crappie baits. I have no idea how many crappie baits are in there. I'd like for somebody to count them because they got tons of little packages. And each one of them little packages got 5, 8, 10, 12, 15 baits in it, 20 baits in it. Somebody once told me, and I've told you this before, that Lake Texoma down here, excuse me, is about 40 miles from us. Lake Texoma, I tell you who told me, it's Chris Carey. Chris Carey said they say that Lake Texoma's got 3 million stripers in it. Now, I don't know who counted them. I don't know who counted them. It'd be a really tough job counting all those stripers, but especially they're swimming around, moving around all the time. But I don't know if you can count the jigs, crappie baits in Griggly Jig's showroom as well. A lot of great crappie fishermen there. So a lot of people that I know and fish with. I run into Wally Marshall. I got the distinct honor of presenting Timmy Huffman, the outdoor rider, with his plaque as an induction into the 2024 Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame out of Wisconsin. And I just want to say one thing about that Hall of Fame. Chris and I are both in that Hall of Fame, and most of the people that you're familiar with, the big name fishermen, and plus people like Ray Scott with BASS, Sugar Ferris, the lady who ran Bass and Gal for all 21 years of Bass and Gal's existence, and a tremendous impact on women's fishing and women's tournament fishing here in the United States. But I just looked down to some of the people, and I saw names in there that some of them I recognized but never met. Some of them lived before I lived. And other people on that list were names that some of them I didn't know, and I just would read down through their bio. And the one thing that I struck me in there, and it was particularly adapted to what Tim Huffman Tim Huffman is started Crappie Now magazine. He's co-founder of another tournament, Crappie Tournament Trail, and he's written over 1,500 articles about crappie fishing, and I think about 12 or 14 books. He's got a new book out right now called Paper Mouth, I believe is what it's called. And but anyway, he was going to give me a copy of that book, and I got away from there, and he didn't give me one. Tim better send me that book. But anyway, I got to introduce him and present him his plaque in front of a huge crowd. We had a big seminar that we did at 10 o'clock, and the seminar area was packed. And once that was over, I presented Tim with that plaque, and he's very, very deserving of it. I mean, absolutely deserving of it. He's been a friend of mine for a long, long time, and a great, great, great outdoor rider. Outdoor riders have been very important, very instrumental in the growth of fishing, bass fishing, crappie fishing, walleye fishing, stripers, everything. They've been very instrumental in the tournament game throughout the years, and I love outdoor riders. I love outdoor riders. But the one thing I noticed as I looked through the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame and looked down through there, every one of those individuals, one of their things that they was the most proud of and where they got the most accolades for was helping other people learn how to catch fish better. And certainly Tim Huffman filled that bill exactly. Teaching people. I was giving a seminar, right before I did that. We did a seminar, it was 10 o'clock, and we had planned, and we did make the presentation to Tim right after that seminar. But one of the things about great, great tournament fishermen, people that are in all these various halls of fame, the Outdoor Legends Hall of Fame, the BAS, the Professional Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, the International Game Fish, IGFA, all of these Hall of Fames that's around fishing, pretty much a common thread amongst all the individuals that ended up being great, great fishermen, and so great that they're in the Hall of Fame, is that they're teaching other people how to fish. And it's one thing I'd like to encourage everybody out there. You don't have to be a Tim Huffman or a Roland Martin or a Hank Parker or Bill Dance or somebody to teach people how to fish. You can, there's all kinds of people, and we're not talking about just kids. Obviously, kids need to learn how to fish, but there's adults that never fished in their life that are friends of yours, and take them, fish them, teach them how to fish. And sometimes it's not much fun to take somebody that doesn't know what they're doing fishing, but you can get the thrill and the joy out of helping them and teaching them how to tie on a lure, how to cast, what it feels like when you get a bite, and then see the thrill when they actually catch a bass or a crappie or a bluegill or catfish or striper or walleye or whatever you're fishing for. But the great fishermen, the greatest fishermen of all time, one of their biggest attributes to every one of them, it looked like as I read down through some of the people, and I know the guys I know that's what they do. Those guys give seminars all the time. And Roland Martin, I've got some work we're doing together at some shows here just within the next month or two, where we'll be again, sharing information about how to better catch fish. But those people are the attributes of teaching people how to fish. I appreciate all of y'all that came and visited me at Grizzly Jigs. We just had so many people. Many people came up and asked about Chris, which is fantastic. And the only way that most everybody could have found out about this through our social media. People talked about listening to the Catch a Better Life channel devotionals every day, reading those devotionals on Facebook, listening to them on Facebook, listening to them on the Catch a Better Life channel on YouTube. And so many people that some said they've been watching our outdoor fishing shows pretty much all their life. And we've been doing that show 47 years, so that's certainly possible. I started when I was minus 12 years old doing that show. But anyway, I appreciate all you people that came out to see us there. And then Saturday morning, it was just an absolute thrill and a tremendous morning. Saturday morning, we got to go to a big Baptist men's conference at Concord Baptist Church, just outside of Knoxville. It's actually I'm not sure if I can say this, Nate, Nate, but it's Farragut, Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville, just a few miles outside of Knoxville. Concord Baptist Church, a huge church, got a school from grades 1 through 12. Just a tremendous church, incredibly beautiful church, large church. And I don't know exactly how many men was there. It was a lot, but I heard somebody say well over 1,000 men. They had the big men's conference there Friday and Saturday. I was there Saturday morning and got to speak and it was just absolutely fantastic. That particular conference was put on by a couple friends of mine, Scott Dawson Evangelistic Ministries, and Scott is just an incredibly great guy. And I was on the stage with him. He was asking me questions and stuff, and we just had an absolute ball. He said, "We want to make this fun." I said, "Okay, we'll make it fun." And we really did. We had a great time, but we also, during that fun, got to explain the gospel of Jesus to a lot of men, and gave encouragement to those men in their walk with God, and many of them in their first involvement of knowing what Jesus Christ is all about and how important it is to have a personal relationship with God. And my buddy Craig Whitt, Craig and I have been working together at churches forever. Craig now is on the staff at First Baptist Bentonville, a tremendously great church. I've spoken over there recently as well, and Craig actually does things all over the country. The other individual that there were several other people. Of course, people spoke Friday and others Saturday morning. But the other individual that was, I guess you'd say, probably the big keynote speaker. Keynote speaker certainly wasn't me, but the big keynote speaker was John Smoltz. And I've talked to John Smoltz on the telephone one time. First time I ever got to actually meet him in person. But just to give you just a real quick deal, John Smoltz, by the way, for those of y'all not baseball fans, is a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Probably his most famous deal is to pitch in the 7th game of the World Series, and I don't even remember the name of that. I'm a Dodger fan, not a Brave fan, but I think it's something like 1991 or 1995 or somewhere in there. And he pitched the first game, a full 9 innings, and won it. And he pitched the 7th game of the World Series and won that. And I think he pitched eight innings in that. I think in the league championship series, I think he had pitched the final game in that series too. So he was really, John Smoltz, a great pitcher, a Hall of Fame pitcher. He gave Craig Whitt a 3 or 4 baseballs signed with his Hall of Fame signature, and Craig gave me one of those. I really, really appreciate that. Craig has got a huge heart. He's got a huge heart for other people and certainly for other men, and he's just he's a good friend. Him and I turkey hunt together, and we've got a turkey trip planned this year. Some of you that have been with us for quite a while know that I've hunted almost none since Chris got sick and had that stroke 34 months ago today, tomorrow. We're at another monthly anniversary, and I know some of you probably get tired of me saying that, but I'm waiting for the day when Chris walks and God completely heals her, and I know he's going to, and she's getting closer all the time. She is so much better than she was this time last year or this time the year before, and we're coming up on a 3-year anniversary, April 5, and I'll give you a little bit more update when we get a little bit closer to that. But she's doing great. She's doing great. She's here at the ranch with me all the time, and just absolutely doing wonderful. But we got a turkey hunt planned with Craig Whitt this year, and we've turkey hunted with him quite a bit in the past. And he just does an amazing job for God all over the world, really, not just at First Baptist Bentonville, but all over the world. He does a lot of ministry everywhere. John Smoltz, of course, has been a baseball hero of mine just because of his just incredible ability that he has as a pitcher. And when I talked to him on the phone, I was going to tell you just what kind of a man he is. I was doing a talk over at I think it was Anderson, South Carolina. I believe it's where it is, if I remember right. I may be wrong on that, but it was over there at Hartwell. And I think I was in Anderson, South Carolina, and they'd had a big fundraising deal there. And one of the things I think they were involved with, part of that was the college fishing team or a high school fishing team. I just can't remember which. It's been 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the prizes or things that they'd given away, either a drawing or a raffle or whatever, was a small boat. Now, it wasn't a great big tracker or a big $100,000 Ranger, but it was a pretty nice little boat, and they were giving away. It might have been a pontoon boat, or it wasn't a pontoon boat. It might have been a kayak even. I don't know, but it was a pretty nice boat. And John Smoltz had bought that boat and donated to them to give away. And so when we drew the winner out, or the winner from the auction, I just can't remember. I think it was just a draw prize. Actually, they got John Smoltz on the telephone, and John loves to fish and he loves to play golf. Outstanding golfer. I can't pass judgment on his fishing. I'm pretty sure, knowing the way he attacks life and the way he attacks everything he does, he's probably an excellent fisherman as well. But he is an excellent golfer. I do know that. Not that I'm an excellent golfer, but I know of his prowess on a golf course. And he plays with Tiger Woods, for crying out loud. He's got to be pretty good. If I played with Tiger Woods, I would be better too, I'm sure. But anyway, when he found out that I was there, he asked to put me on the phone. I talked to him. So I talked to John Smoltz on the phone. But he had a wonderful, he's a great speaker, wonderful talk, which he's been in broadcasting now for I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 years since he retired from throwing a baseball and striking batters out and winning World Series games and stuff like that. But a great individual. It's a pleasure of mine to meet him, and I'm glad that Craig gave me one of his balls. I've got an incredible, I won't say incredible, it's incredible for me. I'm pretty pleased with it. Baseball collection. I, of course, have been fortunate enough to fish with quite a few Major League Baseball players, but I've got baseballs from some little known fishermen like Mickey Mantle, or baseball players. Mickey Mantle, fisherman also. Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial, Sandy Koufax, and great friends like Jay Buhner, Norm Charlton, Ken Griffey Jr., Hall of Fame. I get several Hall of Fame players, and Jeff Kent, second baseman, who is played second base for the Giants and the Dodgers. We got a lot of great autographed baseballs. Aaron Cook, Colorado Rocky pitcher. I could name just lots and lots and lots of baseballs, and still would leave several of them out because we've got quite a few. But now we have one with John Smoltz, a Hall of Fame baseball autographed by John Smoltz, which is really a great addition to my collection. The balls that, most of these individuals, I have very few baseballs that I haven't met these individuals. Most of them I've fished with, and the ones that I fished with are the most important to me, even if some of them are some players that maybe you may not be familiar with unless you're a fan of that particular team. My grandson, Kyle, who does our newsletter, and by the way, if you're not receiving that newsletter, we send that out the first of every month. The February 1 just went out. Got over 11,000 people now that we send that newsletter to. Absolutely free. All you need to do is to go to jimmyhouston.com. We've got a place on there where you just give us your email address. We don't need your name or your mailing address, your phone number, or anything. We don't sell these email addresses. They're just for our use only. But we will send you that email, the Jimmy Houston Outdoors newsletter, the first of every month. So the next one will come out March 1, which is almost a month away. But it's a very short month, even though they added a day to this month. It's still a very short month. So if you want to get that newsletter, that's a way to do that. Is just to go to jimmyhouston.com and give us they've got a spot in there where you can put your email in. We'll email that thing to you. It's got a lot of great information in it, a lot of great articles. It's almost like a magazine, as a matter of fact, because it's got so much great stuff. Got some good deals in there from some of our sponsors. We're always asking them give us a deal for our email people. They always need a deal. And so we always try to get good deals in there from some of our sponsors. So that's a pretty nice deal in there as well. So, But anyway, we had a great time there. There was a lot of men made decisions for Jesus. There was a lot of men that perhaps rededicated their life. There were a lot of men that were going through a lot of struggles that they went to that men's conference to try to get in a little bit closer relationship with God or be with other men that could help them through the struggles they may have. Us big, tough men have a lot of struggles at times. And sometimes we don't share those struggles with other people, sometimes not even our wives. And most of the time, if it's a real big struggle, our wives are very well aware of it because they're struggling through it with us. Or at least that's the way Chris and I have always been all of our lives. So anyway, it was a great conference. I appreciate Craig and Scott Dawson allowing me to come and be a part of that. They do quite a few of these all around the country. The guys that did the music was absolutely fantastic. The one that I don't know if he's the lead singer. They had two singers and then some guitars and drums and piano, and had really long hair, way longer than mine ever got when y'all were all griping about it. And I still left quite a bit in the back, by the way. I know it doesn't look very good back there, but I can't see it, so it doesn't really matter to me how it looks back there. But I'm still not going to cut that in the back until Chris gets completely well from this stroke. And by the way, my next appearance will be Friday, February 16, not March 16, February 16, just like week after next, February 16 at Eagles Landing in Atlanta. And that's a big church down there. I understand it's really a nice one. Atlanta's got some of the greatest churches in the world. They're right in there with Houston, Texas, as far as great churches, I guarantee you. But Eagles Landing, I'll be there on a Friday night, February 16. And I don't know what all the events is planned. I really haven't had time to check into it, but I'm really looking forward to being there. Every time we've had a church event in Atlanta, there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of people show up, and it's going to be a great evening. I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that because it's going to be a lot of fun. One of the things that we've had happen, and I wanted to mention something about catching fish in shallow water this time of the year. We've had basically a little precursor of spring or something happen. We had 4 or 5 days, 70 degrees and above, 2 or 3 of those degrees, 73 degrees here in southern Oklahoma. And when I keep looking at that Weather Channel app on my telephone, it goes out 15 days. I keep seeing 55, 60, 65, 72, 68, 66, and I see night times where it's 35, 38, 45, 52, 51, and over the next 15 days, there's one low temperature below 32, below freezing. So we appear to be having an early spring, so if we are, there's going to be a lot of fish move to shallower water quicker. There are fish in shallow water right now. I've had individuals tell me, and I just want to spend just a few minutes here today and talk to you about how to catch fish in shallow water during the cold time of the year like it is right now. We've got turkeys strutting right now. On the way to church this morning, looked out in the field and I saw about 8 or 10 fans up, and there was about 8 or 10 gobblers in complete strut out there. And then I looked over and about 15 or 20 hens come running to the side, and the gobblers took off after the hens. I got a little video of that we'll stick on one of the videos that we run this week, one of the deer videos we run this week. We'll stick that up there. But ooh, you see 8 or 10 gobblers in strut. Oh my gosh, it's just like incredible. And they were that little bunch of jakes, I think, probably 25 gobblers in that bunch or 30. And I don't know for sure, there might have been a big gobbler, but I saw a couple of little beards, they were mostly looking the other direction. And the truck spooked them a little bit, or the car was in Chris's car, but spooked them a little bit, but they basically took off after those hens. But I might get out in the next week or two and try to do a little turkey calling and see if we can call 1 or 2 of those up close and let them gobble and carry on and just have some fun doing that. It's not turkey season yet. We're definitely not going to be hunting. And particularly if we call those jakes up, we don't shoot jakes anyway. We just shoot longbeards is all we do when we turkey hunt. But and we do have some turkey trips planned this year. One to Texas with Craig Whitt, a man I was just talking about, and then another one with Gary Mason, my buddy who has the Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame. And we're going to do that hunting in Upper Missouri, so I'm really looking forward to that. But let's get back to talking about catching some fish and how do you catch them in shallow water this time of the year, especially when you have these warm, sunshiny days. Now, we're not too far off of February 15th, and we don't really have any bad fronts at all coming in here in Oklahoma between now and then. So once you reach February 15th, cold fronts usually only last a couple of days, then you have 3 or 4 nice days, and then maybe another cold front. Now, we're going to have some severe cold weather. February is a cold month usually, but the spring is getting here earlier. But here's the couple of things that you want to concentrate on to catch fish shallow early in the year. Now, I'm not taking anything away from fishing suspended fish down around the dam area with a live scope. You can take your Garmin live scope and go down around almost any dam anywhere in the South and fish the points on both sides of that dam, the pockets and the bays, down in the dam area, near the dam, the lower end of the lake, and get out in those flats and move around and look with your live scope, and you're going to see bass suspended maybe 10 foot deep over 50 or 60 or 70 foot of water, maybe 15, 20 foot deep over 30 foot of water. But anyway, they will be in the water column. You want to run your baits over the top of them. You fish a wide variety of baits. An Alabama rig works really great. A single shad type bait works good on a jig. Just a swim bait on a jig works well. A crankbait many times works really, really good on that. Sometimes you can even swim a worm over the top of them. The main thing to remember is keep your bait over the top of those fish. The clearer the water, the further away you need the bait to be from the fish. So if it's really, really clear lake you're fishing, and you see one of those big fish suspended out there 10 or 15 foot deep, run your bait 4 or 5 foot above the fish, not a foot or 6 inches, or put it on his nose like you might do a crappie. Get it up above that fish. The fish will go up there and get it. That's not a problem whatsoever. But if you're going to fish shallow, that's what I want to talk about just for a minute or two. If you're going to fish shallow, the best thing to do it with is crankbaits. But here's the key. You want to concentrate on rocks. And you want to fish shallow on bright, sunshiny days when you have a south wind blowing or no wind at all, which we have a lot in February. No wind at all or light wind, and the wind being from the south. Now, we're not talking about fishing where waves are crashing, the south wind's crashing up on the bank, although that'll be good a little bit later on when it starts reflecting a big change in the water temperature. That activity causes the water temperature to change. We're talking about just simply finding places where you can catch fish in the wintertime, which it still is, irrespective of those 70-degree days, and catch fish. Concentrate on the rocks. Riprap is good. Riprap around bridges, around marinas, around boat ramps, anywhere you can find them. Rocky banks, rocky points. Rocky points are excellent. The rocks that warm sunshine will heat those rocks up, and it'll draw the bait fish in, draws the bass in. Baits to use, probably as good a bait as any to use is some sort of a crawfish color crankbait. This is a deep smoothie, which is my very favorite crankbait of all time. This particular color right here is called a Casey's Crawl. And it is about the best. To turn it over that way we can see it a little bit better. A Casey's Crawl. Casey's Crawl is about, that bait is expertly designed. That's all I can say about it. It's got blue in it and it's got red in it, which are the two colors fish can see better in most shallow water applications. It's got red flake. It's got stripes. It's got an orange belly on it. It's just absolutely a great one. A Casey's Crawl is what that's called. A crawfish type color. A lot of the fish have not been able to eat any crawfish during the wintertime, and so they start seeing crawfish this time of the year. They'll really jump on that. Here's another bait that's really, really good and some sort of a red or orange crankbait. This is a deep smoothie, a little bit larger size. You can see a larger size. This particular one right here is called a chili bowl, a chili bowl. But now this has got red and orange in it. Again, it's still got red eyes. It's got red or orange in it. It's a larger crankbait, but it's a Lucky Strike deep smoothie, and it's just fish lucky with Lucky Strikes, the luckiest fish baits in the world. But anyway, this is one of our American originals, made in America, not made in some of the source countries that's causing America so much problems right now. Made in Greenwood, Arkansas, by Arkies, that's right. But there's quite a few Oklahomans go over there. It's going over there working too, by the way. So, but anyway, this bait right here is good. And one of the things to do when you find that riprap is get fish in the sun. We talk about fishing in the shade, but in this time of the year, the fish are just like us. They want sunshine. So fish in the sun, fish in the sunshine, fish sunshiny banks. The afternoon, where the warmest temperature will be the best time to catch the fish up there. So fishing around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on where you live. Fish rocky banks, and crankbaits are really, really good. A jig in crawfish patterns are great. The jig, it's got, maybe a green pumpkin jig, or jig that's got some orange and blue and red on it, stuff like that. And the one thing about this bait right here, that's the one I held up, called Casey's Crawl. Buddy, it's got about all the right colors in it. I mean, you name the colors the fish can see better in shallow water, that's it right there. It's got them all. It's got them all. Really an expertly designed color bait. I mean, it really is. And beautifully painted. Beautifully, beautifully painted. And it got the red eyes in it, just absolutely perfect. So, and in fishing those, you want to get that bait down as deep as possible. Lighter line's going to allow you to do that. You probably should be fishing maybe 10-pound test line. I think about that maybe as the heaviest, where you can get your bait down as deep as possible. If you want to get a few more bites and catch more fish, move down to 8. If you really are very brave and you got plenty of deep smoothies with you, you move down to 6-pound or 4-pound test line, you're probably going to get more bites, but that's dangerous. That's dangerous. But anyway, that's a way you can catch fish in shallow water right now. Not discounting at all, going down and live scoping over deep water and finding those individual large bass that's swimming around, or maybe 2 or 3 of them in a bunch swimming around. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 of those big ones together. And when you get in some of the lakes, like the big bass lakes in Texas, those 2 or 3 might be they might weigh 15 pounds apiece. But they certainly could weigh 10 or 11 or 12 pounds apiece. And many times you'll see 2 of those fish together, 2 of those big females swimming around together. I don't know if they're gossiping or talking about their neighbors or what, but you see 2 12-pound fish on your live scope. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one. It's going to be a great week. Spring is just around the corner. God has just given us a winter time that's just basically dropping out of heaven, and he's smiling on us. Go out there and have you a great week. Don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution. Smile at everybody you meet. Smile at everybody you meet. Tell them hello. And remember, I sure do love you.